probably say he's about 60% fit at the moment. But this time of year is a kind of transition time anyway. And this is the time when he starts doing the speed work. He's curtailed that to a certain extent because the thigh of the leg is just not strong enough to take the hard type of work that he does this time of year.
The trouble with Brighton is it's full of hills. You're not going up one, you're coming down one. That's why I'm not much good on the flat.
There's even more of them. A whole bunch of them. I got more of them. I think there's more of them.
How do you feel then? Stiff?
Yeah. Sort of, you can see it, you know, I can even feel that I'm running sort of with an imbalance. But what can you do, you know? Time is running short. My family situation isn't any different than most people when they get married. You do have an awful lot of upheaval because you are starting a new life. As I say, my sort of family framework broke up. I was living on my own then and not in the family system, in the family setup. That is difficult to get used to when you've been there all your life, where you're almost the centre of attention in the family because you are an important person to them. In other words, they like to sort of do their best for you. And then, as I say, that changes completely, and you are on your own. You have to do your own, sort of simple things like washing and getting things sorted out, which is, I know it sounds quite sort of menial, but it is very important that you have to do all these things. That sort of shock of being, having everything done for you to, having to do it all yourself, takes a little bit of getting used to. And I must admit, for the first 3 or 4 months, I was a bit sort of haywire, but then you settled into a routine, and I quite enjoy it now.
I think our situations changed, both of us. I mean, when we first met, I was living at home, Steve was living at home, so obviously our lives were very, very different to the fact that they are now, that we're married now, and we lived together for a year. So, yes, maybe he has had to change. I think we both have. But I mean, I think that's natural. I mean, as you get older, you do change. No one stays 18 or 19 or whatever forever. You do just progress.
Rachel, I've seen that here before, this one, haven't I? 227.
Yeah, it was here last month.
It's been sold and resold again, looks like. Perhaps they can't shift it.
One of the nicest things about him is that he is such a great athlete, and yet he's not totally wrapped up in the sport. Not completely. I mean, he's not a fanatic, not in any way.
I wouldn't say that this sort of collective mania that I've got is it's something which will last. It was something which Rachel and I decided that we, if we were going to get married, that we would take time in finding things that we loved and finding things that would be with us for the rest of our lives. And we spent a whole year looking for things, and the most enjoyable year it was. But it's not a collective mania in it, anything like that. It's just filling up your life with things.
I think it's been quite lucky that we moved into the flat and we had lots of things to do. We had lots of things to occupy his mind, all sorts of decorating and household bits and pieces that he just got on with, and I think it took his mind off the whole injury, which was maybe a blessing in disguise. Cars are another big love of his, working on cars. I mean, he's always enjoyed working on different machines and things. He enjoys that very much.
It's going in for its MOT soon, so it needs time, but always with these things is you never have the right tool.
what I need is a stumpy screwdriver, and what I've got is rather a big one. So you end up grease everywhere and aching arms and limbs with taking a job that would normally take 5 minutes, spreading over a period of days. But I think with a bit of luck and a bit of brute strength, I've got that.
I enjoy the things that I do outside my sport. I've always worked that way. I've always tried to do the things that I enjoy doing. And also, the other things that I don't enjoy doing, I've tried to work around to a way where, by doing them, I can get some benefit from them. So I tend to live a fairly fulfilled life.
The generous challenge on this ambitious program to raise £100,000 for the Mary Rose in 4 days.
Captain Ovett, he walks on the water.
He's a mean man. No, but you know, you have to be an official of the BAB before you can start walking on water.
Well, a good start there for Steve. And the great thing about Steve is you should really relax. Steve's a little bit tense. Of course, he's using the muscles now to take him down the track at an incredible pace. And he's actually stopped using the arms. Well done, Steve. Not too bad. I think you make a good runner, but forget about the swimming. I'll go run a quick 1500 now, okay?
We used to come down here, before I met Steve, we used to have these camps down here. And then Steve came down, he liked it very much when he was young. And I think ever since then we've come down at least once a year for a weekend. But generally he feels that it's a getaway place. You can come down here and train with a bunch of lads. There's no pressure on you, a totally different atmosphere. He also regards it as a bit of a testing for his fitness, because it's usually the same time of year when we come down here. So he gets a very good guide from this as to how he's going in comparison to previous years.